Hey, third grade. All right, back again. All right, today's lesson, I'm going to tell you something. Yes, it says three-digit dividends, but there is nothing new that I'm showing you today. The only difference in today's lesson is that instead of having just 2 digits in the dividend, we have 3. But it's the same steps that we've been using before. Remember our sentence? Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers rare? Okay, first we divide, then we multiply, then we subtract. After we subtract, we're going to compare the difference with the divisor, make sure that it's less than. As long as it is, we go to the next step, which is to bring down the next number. After we bring it down, then we're going to either repeat the process or we're going to have a remainder. Okay, so there's nothing new today. It's just that there's more digits in the dividend. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're on page 191 and we're going to start with the math mystery. And it reads, a herd of 364 caribou, which are just reindeer, has 8 family groups of nearly equal size. About how many caribou would be in each family? All right, you know what I'm going to say. Let's go through the paces. Very first step is to identify what the question is. About. Very important. About how many caribou would be in each family. After that, we collect all the information that is important. We need to know that there are 364 caribou and that they've been divided into 8 family groups. All right, so we have a large group of caribou and they've been separated into 8 groups that are equal. They want us to find out how many are in each group. All right, so whenever you're taking a large group, separating it into smaller equal groups, there you need to divide. All right, and you can see I've already written the division sentence up here, so let's hit it. All right, okay, so we have 364 divided by 8. Now, very first step is to divide. All right, when we're dividing, we look at the very first digit in the dividend, which is a 3. All right, so I asked myself, how many times can 8 go into 3? Well, the answer is 0. I can't do anything. Now, when that happens, what you need to do is to go ahead and slide over to the next digit and include that digit as well, as far as your dividend. So instead of thinking of it as 3 divided by 8, I need to go ahead and slide over and add the 6. So it's actually 36 divided by 8. Now, I don't have an 8 multiplication fact that is equal to 36, so I'm going to have to estimate. What can I multiply times 8 that's close to 36 without going over? Well, the answer is 4. Okay, so I divide. After I divide, I multiply. 4 times 8 is 32. Okay, after you multiply, you're going to subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4, and then 3 minus 3 is 0. I compare. Is 4 less than 8? Well, sure it is. As long as that's true, I go on to the next step, which is bring it down. All right, and I'm bringing down the next digit of my dividend, which is a 4. All right, and now I repeat the whole process over again. Now we're working with 44 divided by 8. All right, again, I'm thinking either of a basic fact, which I don't have an 8 multiplication fact that's equal exactly to 44. So I'm going to have to estimate. So going through my 8 multiplication facts, let's see. Let's work with 5. All right, because 5 times 8 is 40. After I multiply, I'm going to subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4, and then 4 minus 4 is 0. All right, I check it. Is 4 less than 8? Well, yes, it is. We already answered that earlier. All right, so the next step would be B, bring it down, but I'm looking at my dividend. I've already used all the digits. So there's nothing to bring down, so I go to the next step, which is to either repeat, which I can't. So the 4 is just simply my remainder. All right, so I write that up here. Okay? Similar to what we've been doing before, it's just you might have one more step because there's more digits in the dividend. All right, now I'm working with my student notebook, my student book, just like you have, the packet. So I don't know if that's the correct answer. So I'm going to check it because we know in 3rd grade we work hard so later on we can play hard. So let's check it. Now remember, in order to check it, we're going to do the opposite operation. I'm dividing right now. So to check it, I'm going to multiply. All right, and you multiply the numbers that are outside of the house or outside of the dividend. So I'm going to multiply 45 times 8. All right, 40 times 8. All right, let's get down to it, multiplication masters. We have 8 times 5, which is 40. All right, my 0, bring my 4 up here. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 4 is 36. Now, I'm not finished because whenever you have a remainder, that's going to be part of checking your answer as well. You add the remainder. Okay, I had a remainder of 4, so I'm going to add that on there. 0 plus 4 is 4. 6 plus 0 is 6, and 3 plus 0 is 3. And look, here's 364. 364. All right, you know what I'm going to say. We nailed it. We got it right. Like I said, it's such a feeling of satisfaction. After all that work, you can check it and know if it's correct. All right, well, let's go ahead and continue with the other items that are on your paper. And for numbers 1 through 4, they're just asking you to circle the correct first step in division. It says write the first digit of the quotient in the correct place value column. All right, so we're not going to go through all of the steps. We just want to know where to start. All right, so for this one, we have 413 divided by 6. First step is to divide. I look at the first digit. 4 divided by 6. Well, I can't take a group of 6 out of 4, so I need to slide over and include the 1. So we're going to begin dividing 41 divided by 6. So this is where we're actually going to start. 41 divided by 6. Now, in your head, you can't think, there is not a 6 multiplication fact that's equal to 41, so I have to estimate. 6 can go into 41 6 times, because 6 times 6 is 36. I can't use 7 because 6 times 7 is 42. And I know it's really close, but it's way too much. All right, so where do I put that 6? I place the 6 right above the 1 because I'm actually dividing 41 by 6. So that's why the 6 goes right here. All right, let's go ahead and go down to this one. I have 855 divided by 2. First step is to divide. Let's start with the first digit. I have 8. Can I take groups of 2 out of 8? Well, sure I can. All right, so the equation that I'm going to use to divide is actually 8 divided by 2. All right, to divide, 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. I write the 4 right here above the 8 because that's the number that I was dividing into. All right? Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next one. I have 169 divided by 3. Okay, we're going to divide. Start by looking at the first digit. It's a 1. Can I take a group of 3 out of 1? No, you can't. So I need to include this second digit, 16. I definitely can take groups of 3 out of 16. So between these two equations, this is the first step, 16 divided by 3. And 16 divided by 3 is going to be 5. Okay, I had to estimate because there's no 3 multiplication fact that's equal to 16. But 3 times 5 is 15, and that's as close as I'm going to get without going over. My 5 I will write right here above the 6 because that's the number I was dividing. All right, let's do the last one until before we start actually doing some more division. We have 364 divided by 8. Again, starting with the first digit, the 3. Can I take groups of 8 out of 3? Well, no, it's not enough. So let me slide over to this next digit, 36. I most definitely can take a group of 8 out of 36. So between these two division sentences, this is the one that will be my first step, 36 divided by 8. And 36 divided by 8, it's going to be 4. Okay, I had to estimate. 4 times 8 is 32. That's close. If I was to do 8 times 5, that's 40. It's too much. So 8 times 4. Again, notice where I'm writing the 4. It's going right above the 6 because that's the last digit that's included in that first step of dividing. Okay, so 4. Okay, now where we're placing these digits is crucial because it sets up for the next number that I bring down, all these different things. So Mrs. Smith isn't being picky. This is exactly how we should do it in order to keep our numbers organized. All right, now let's go ahead and go over to the next page, page 5, and let's divide. All right, okay. Number 2 is 341 divided by 2. All right, let's get down to work. I think I'm going to use purple. I like purple. All right, so I divide by starting with the first digit. I have 3. Can I take groups of 2 out of 3? Sure I can. I can take 1. So I write the 1 above the 3 because that's the number I'm dividing into. After you divide, you multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. You subtract afterwards. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then I need to compare. Is 1 less than 2? Sure it is. All right, so the next step after I compare is to bring it down. All right, I hope you're saying it at home. Oh, it gets me all excited. Now, what number do I bring down? It's the very next digit that's in my dividend, which is the 4, okay? Again, I write that arrow to help me to keep myself organized because now that we have 3 digits, there's a lot going on here. And truth be told, we're going to be working with 4 digits later on. So make sure you're keeping yourself organized. So I bring down the 4. And now I repeat the whole thing over again. All right, so it's 14 divided by 2. All right, well, I can think of a 2 multiplication fact that would fit perfectly. 7. Notice I'm putting the 7 above the 4 because that's the last digit that I brought down. Now I multiply. 7 times 2 is 14. After I multiply, I S or subtract. And I'm going to compare. Is 0 less than 2? Of course it is. All right, so I bring down the next number. Or I'm sorry. I bring down the next number in the dividend, which is a 1. All right, so you can see how those arrows really come in handy. All right, so I bring down the 1. And now I repeat. Start the whole process over again. I ask myself, can I take groups of 2 out of 1? No. I can multiply 2 times 0. Okay, that gets me close without going over. And even though it's a 0, it's important that I hold the place with the 0. And I'm going to multiply just as I've done before. 0 times 2 is 0. I subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. And I compare. Is 1 less than 2? Sure it is. All right, so I would next bring down the next digit, but I've ran out of digits in my dividend, so instead of repeating, this is my remainder. All right, now the directions tell you to divide and check. No problem here. We know what to do. If we're dividing, to check it, I'm going to do the opposite operation, which is multiply. All right, we're going to be multiplying the numbers that are outside of the house. Okay, the quotient or the answer times the divisor. All right, so I have 170 times 2. 0 times 2 is 0. 2 times 7 is 14. Here's my 4. I bring my 1 up here. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Not done yet, because I have a remainder, and you add that. So plus 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. 4 plus 0 is 4. 3 plus 0 is 3. And looky here. I just love it when that happens, because we nailed it. Okay? As long as your answer here and in your dividend match, you got it completely right. And that's what we did. All right, let's go on to the next one. And let's see. I think I'm going to use green. You know green's my favorite color. All right, so then the next one is 277 divided by 8. First step, let's start by dividing, looking at the first digit. I have a 2. How many groups of 2 can you take out of 8? Nothing, Mrs. Smith. Yeah, that's right. So let me slide over and include the next digit, the 7. Now, 27 divided by 8, that's more like it. I can take groups of 8 out of 27. How many sets can I take out? 3, about. Because remember, we don't have an 8 multiplication fact that's equal to 27, so we had to estimate. But it can go into it about 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. All right, after I multiply, it's time for me to subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. All right, so now that I've subtracted, now it's time for me to compare. Is 3 less than 8? Yeah, sure is. All right, so we picked the right number. So the next step after C is to B, bring it down. All right, and the next digit in our dividend is 7. All right. Okay, and now we're going to repeat all over again. So it's 37 divided by 8 this time. All right, what can you multiply times 8 that's close to 37 without going over? I'm thinking 4. 4 times 8 is 32. If I was to do 8 times 5, that's 40, and that's more than I can have. So 4. Again, notice I'm putting the 4 right above the 7 because that's the number that I just brought down. All right, let's go ahead and multiply. 4 times 8 is 32. All right, next subtract. All right, 7 minus 2 is 5. 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, I compare. Is 5 less than 8? Yeah, sure it is. All right, so I would bring down the next digit, but there's nothing left to bring down. So instead of repeating the whole process, 5 is just simply my remainder. Okay, so I put an R and then put 5 on there. Now, let's check it. Remember to check, we're going to multiply the quotient or the answer times the divisor. Those are the two numbers that are outside of the house. All right, so 34 times 8. All right, 8 times 4 is 32. Write my 2, bring my 3 up here. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 3 is 27. All right, but I'm not done yet because I have a remainder. Whenever you have a remainder, you just simply add it on. So I'm going to add 5. Okay. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 plus 0 is 7. And 2 plus 0 is 2. All right, look. 277 here, 277 here. So we nailed it. All right, and then one more. All right, one more to do. Let's use blue. All right, we have 329 divided by 6. First step, we need to divide. Start by looking at the digit, the very first one of the dividend. It's a 3. Can I take a group of 6 out of 3? No. So let me go ahead and slide over and include the next digit, the 2. So now we're going to be working with 32. I most definitely can take groups of 6 out of 32. Question is how many? I'm going to have to estimate because there's no 6 multiplication fact equal to 32. So I'm thinking 5 because 5 times 6 is 30. If I was to do 6 times 6, that would be 36, and that's more than what I can have. So 5. The 5 is going right here above the 2 because I was dividing it into 32. Okay, very important to remember. All right, after I divide, now it's time for me to multiply. 5 times 6 is 30. I subtract now. 2 minus 0 is 2, and 3 minus 3 is 0. I compare. Is 2 less than 6? Sure is, so I got the number right. Okay, so after I compare, I bring it down, and I'm bringing down the next digit in the dividend, which is a 9. All right, and now I repeat. Start all over again. Now it's 29 divided by 6. Well, I think I'm going to have to go with the 4 because we just used 5. 5 times 6 was 30. Okay, I need something lower, so I'm going to be working with 4. The 4 goes right here above the 9 that I brought down. 4 times 6 is 24. And now it's time for me to subtract. All right, 9 minus 4 is 5. And then 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, so I'm good. After I subtract, it's time for me to compare. 5 is less than 6, so we have the right number. So the next step would be to bring down the next digit in the dividend, but there's no more left. So instead of repeating, this is my remainder. All right, so the answer is 54 with a remainder of 5. All right, let's check to see if it's right because I don't have the teacher's manual here. I'm hoping it is. All right, let's see what we got. So we're going to multiply 54 times 6. All right, 6 times 4 is 24. All right, the 4, bring my 2 up here. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 2 more gives me 32. Okay, not done checking because I did have a remainder. So the remainder needs to be added on. All right, and 4 plus 5 is 9. 2 plus 0 is 2. 3 plus 0 is 3. And I have 329 here. 329 in my dividend. So what does that mean? Nailed it! Love it when that happens. All right. So today's lesson, it's not anything new. It's just a matter of having more digits in the dividend, but it's nothing that you can't handle. Just make sure that you always start with the first digit in your dividend. Decide if your divisor can go into it. If it can't, then you're going to go ahead and add in the next digit and then begin dividing. All right, so for today's assignment, you're supposed to complete numbers 6 through 11. Those are your division exercises that you're supposed to do. For number 6 through 9, they're asking you to check it. All right, so let me know how you did. And then for the review numbers 12 through 15, go ahead and complete that, and then you're going to submit your answers on the Google form. All right, guys, 3rd grade, keep on working hard, because like my shirt says, only the weak give up. All right, 3rd grade, we work hard, so later on we can play hard. So keep up the good work. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.